Oh shit, it's a discussion video. Hey, the name's Ben. If you don't know me, I'm a big Ys fan and consider it to be my favorite game series. I'm also a minor connoisseur of Falcom games in general, but I try not to be more than that. And as a general enjoyer of the games, I was of course pretty ecstatic seeing Trails in the Sky FC finally getting a new release in the name of Trails in the Sky the First. They released a new trailer just the other day and it looks really good. I'm very excited to see more of it. Why is there a giant asterisk on my face? Oh. Ys X Proud Nordics was announced at the same time. It's described as a new version of Ys X with new areas to explore, new mana actions, minigames, an entirely new story-based island by the looks of it. From the screenshots shown, it does indeed look very different and much more refined in many ways. The environments in these screenshots, for example, look breathtaking and way more dense than what we saw in the base game. But let's get this out of the way first and foremost for those not informed. This game literally just came out. Yeah, that's a stretch. The game did come out in 2023, but the localization for it just came out this year and only a few months ago. The immediate comparison you can make is with Ys 8, where it did get its own expansion soon after, but that was under different circumstances. For one, Ys 8 was initially released on a dying platform, the PS Vita. When Falcom started creating a less confined version of the game, they basically just decided to add certain parts to make the game feel more complete on home consoles. That included several new game modes, and an entire dungeon unlocked over time as you progress the story. In this case though, it's not only a game that's already had every opportunity to be released in its perfected state, being on home consoles and PC, but it's also not advertised as just the same game with extra goodies. It's now a new overall game with its own title, akin to Ys Memoir or Ultimate Fogana. And that's what ultimately worries me, cause this is a very familiar tactic employed by everyone's favorite company that they also collectively despise, Atlus. They are well known by now to be incredibly quick to re-release a game that came out only a few years prior, with tons of new features as an entirely new product at full price, with those who owned the original game forced to pay up once again. It's not about whether these are better versions, cause they usually are, but it often makes the prior releases feel worthless, and like you gained little even owning it. It makes some wonder what the point of buying the initial release of a new project is, cause they'll inevitably become outdone by a new sparkly version that just smells better. And here's the thing, in the modern day we look at this stuff as DLC expansions, where many games used to need new physical releases to put out more content. It can now be done just by downloading a big DLC pack and getting everything off the bat. Doesn't mean they can't leech you from any other ways, but it's at least convenient this way. The Atlus method reeks of a need to justify making you pay top dollar, which I can only see being a product of higher-ups at Atlus being pushed by Sega to get more big releases throughout the year. If Ys is going to be used in the same way, it comes off as not only greedy, but kinda tone deaf. What's the obvious difference between Ys and your average Atlus franchise? One is usually a top seller and is widely successful in the market. The other is Ys. How the hell do they think that this is somehow going to work out for them? Like, they've already basically got one product up in the shelves still, and by putting out another one that just kind of looks identical? I mean, sure, people might go for the new shiny looking one, but still, it's like, if not a ton of people bought the first one, then I don't think the other one is going to really solve things. And that's really the bottom line, is that it worries me because it doesn't really feel like it benefits them, and only really feels like it's going to drag them down even more than they already are. I mean, Falcom releases are getting more popular, but it's not really by a ton. They're still very much niche, and they're still trying to work their way back up. And I'd say a lot of recent decisions have actually been making that better, but if they do go through with this, I feel like this is just gonna end up causing more really bad decisions that ultimately will cause the business side to really implode on the creative side. And that's not really what I want. To be fair, that's never really been a thing at Atlus. I don't think their creative side is being diminished by these new releases. If anything, a lot of their best creativity is coming from these new releases, and with Persona 5 Royal, you got one of the best new stories in that version. So no, my worry isn't like, oh god, is Falcom going to die if they do this? Oh no, I'm so scared! No, not really, they're gonna survive. They've gone through worse. But on that topic, I should probably talk about my viewpoint on this, as, yeah, this is me looking at it from one viewpoint, obviously, my analytical side that's like, yeah, this doesn't seem that great. But then, of course, there's a fanboy in me that just says, holy shit, new Ys content, yes! And, yeah, that part of me is very satisfied because, yeah, new Ys content is always great, and I'm just hoping that if they do this, It is through a DLC method similar to Sonic Mania Plus. I don't think that's amazing, but I'd say it's a good decision to make if they want to really like add more to this game. And if they do, then I think I'd be for it. I think this is a really great game, and I think more people really need to play it. And if you do want to wait for this release, I recommend not. I mean, I don't know when this thing is going to be released. Nissa might push it back a good bit, and I don't really know how much that might be. Either way, that's about all I wanted to say on this topic. It's a pretty short one, but I wanted to get my thoughts out in a more video format and try this whole discussion video type thing. Never really done it before, and thought it might be fun. So, yeah. Play Ys X Nordics.